to Perth WAtch, your horology channel, broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the pleasure to feature the inaugural piece from Atowak watches. Now, Atowak as a brand, the name is an encryption of the word unique, so that is indeed what they are aiming to do, to offer unique timepieces. This is going to be a relatively long review of two different variations. The piece comes in this leather case, so without further ado, let's just jump straight into it, flip the camera around and take a closer look at today's piece. Alright guys, so here we have the package on the table. Pretty pleasantly done faux leather, nice relief here, Atowak with that stylized K, you know, pretty nicely done, faux leather on top of likely some sort of cardboard construction, I assume, rather than anything more solid. Spinability, you would think it doesn't spin very much, but I think that's at least a 3.5 actually. It's actually low friction table, not too bad. And then this is of course a pre-release, so there is no instruction manual or anything to bore you guys with, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing in there. Nice cushion and case protection chamber there. So just going to pull that apart and show you guys this particular piece in closer detail. So guys, this is the Atowak Ettore Drift. This is the silver blue colorway. It does come in a number of others, including black, darker blue, green, whatnot. You know, check out the links. I might show a screenshot here if I can pull out the appropriate images to show you the colorways of the Ettore Drift. Now the Kickstarter is going to be pretty soon. I'm going to try to release this before Kickstarter, or you know, kind of like coinciding with the Kickstarter. The early bird price of this particular watch going to be $549. Is pretty steep, and the MSRP, I shudder to even mention it. I'll let you check out their site for the full details on the full MSRP there, which I don't think realistically this will move at. It will need to move on discounts such as the early bird. Now they also sent me this other piece, which is the Ettore Lite. Now, you know, the case design is completely the same. This one is the green colorway, and you can see, obviously there's a very different dial layout. Now I'll go into the difference in the movement here. The Ettore Lite is a simpler design, not quite as proprietary. $299 early bird price, which is, I think, going to be a lot more palatable to most of you guys. Full MSRP of $599. Once again, I think expect this to move at some degree of discount. I'm going to focus mainly on the Drift, and I'll just cover the Lite in a lighter fashion, no pun intended. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the movement in this watch here. So, in here, we have none other than a Miyota 9000 series movement. The details I got says it's a 9015, but I can tell you there is absolutely no ghost state position. So I'm going to assume it's probably a 9039. And I'll let them correct or list the actual details on the website if they wish, but they told me it's a 9015. I think it's a 9039 just on the feel. I'm just going to show you the rated accuracy on the side there on detection, because this does not have a second hand. I detected it on the Time Grapher app. This is plus 11 seconds per day, which is not bad. Okay, now you might be wondering already about the time display here. So obviously it's a very, very different time display. So right now it's displaying roughly 3 o'clock, and I'll just show you. It's kind of a bit of a magic hour. So this is obviously 3:30, 3:45-ish, and now 4 o'clock as it the hour position goes over an arc of 90 degrees there. And that's 1 hour that has gone past. You can see that's 5 o'clock now, 5:30, and it just keeps changing, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's like a magic hour here, but that's because there is a proprietary gantry inside. I'll put a screenshot right here on the left to show you how it rotates the hour indicators to kind of flick that hour, so that there are actually 12-hour indicators. So that's as far as I can tell, that's absolutely unique, and good on them for coming up with a unique design. Absolutely novel way of telling the time. So that's really the movement distinction here, the modification to give you that hour indicator. No minutes hand as such. I guess it is a minutes hand with a rotating hour indicator. So no hour hand, no seconds hand, right? This is what you're getting here. Now, let's talk about the Ettore Lite now, just for a short while. So the movement in here, in contrast, is 8215. It's a slower beat movement. It's a lower grain movement. That's why the price is a little bit more competitive. It does have a modified hour and minute and second display, of course. So the minute and seconds are just in the arch in the middle. So I'm just going to put the movement statistics down the left side of the screen here, and you can see the detected speed here is plus 7 seconds per day. Again, no absolute seconds indicator here, so I had to detect it with a time grapher. Now, moving on to how this movement is modified. So you can see minutes moving there, so 15, 20, 25. So fairly standard minute display, except they're using a disc. Seconds is that little disc that is rotating in the middle there. You can see the most proximal disc. Hour is the thing that is somewhat modified. So you can see it's going that little trench there with that indicator 5, going up to 6 o'clock there, right, going up to 7 o'clock there. So the hour display is definitely different, and in this case 12 hours goes over 120 degree arch here. So if I go up to 12 o'clock, you can see there will be another hand that comes up. Now you can see 2 hands pointing at 12 o'clock. Right, hopefully that's obvious to you guys. Okay, so there's 3 hands in between for the 120 degree arc of the modified hour display here, right? That's the Miyota 8215 on the Ettore Lite. Now, going back to the drift here. So case craft here, just talking about a case, 47 millimeter width, right, between my thumb and forefinger here, 47 millimeters, 41 millimeter high, that height there. Thickness is 13 millimeters on this, 13.6 I should say, 13.6 millimeters thick with 24 millimeter lugs, which I guess in this watch is actually fairly proportional, but 24 is pretty wide. So you're going to struggle to find straps easily to fit that, but I did have a couple lying around. The lug to lug distance between my thumbs there, not too long, 47 millimeters, and overall weight on leather strap is 107 grams. Finishing, right, horizontal brushing at the top, right, with the Atowak there, you can see it's got a high polish bevel, obviously, and that's a high polish at the bottom that continues down the bottom surface there, or high polish. Okay, it's got vertical brushing on that side surface there. Right, you can obviously see that, and then it's got kind of longitudinal brushing on the lug surface there, and then nicely finished differential surfaces on the lugs over here. Okay, radial brushing on that screw down crown, so that's a bit different. Display case back, screw down display case back, I should say. Radial brushing on that display case back. It's got a push kind of bolt shape. I want to say this is like a bolt shaped crown, like push crown, not screw down crown. A bit of a sign there with, I think, a bit of PVD treatment. I've tried to see whether that comes off, but I think that's actually probably PVD treatment on the crown there. This is not designed to go on the water. It is rated at 30 meter water rating, which is really just for splashing, accidental splashing, washing hands, etc. And you wouldn't really get this underwater if you're going to keep it on leather strap anyway. Right, now talking about the dial now, where a lot of the innovation is here. So obviously it's a multi-level dial. They say it's got copper and aluminium construction. I assume that silver bit is aluminium, but I'm not 100% sure. Definitely not copper with that color. So that's got to be the aluminium, I would think. It's got a printed top surface. You can say Ettore automatic, as well as the printed, I guess you can call it a chapter ring, or in this case actually is a chapter arch, and then it's got a minute differentiation on the inner side of the flange there. So again, that 90 degree arc rather than a full circle. It's got brushed aluminium on the, I guess, the most bottom surface of the dial you can see there. The hands are black, I think PVD coated. I'm going to say, 3 prong per hand. So there's I guess 4 triple-handed prongs for the wandering hour effect that they have. So the hand assembly with the hour indicators on the pointers pointing to the 90-degree minute arch as best as I can explain it. It's really something you have to see for yourself. Right, lume is applicable on the hour indicators as well as the kind of racetrack shape around the top of the case, but not on the minute track or the flange. So it's going to be difficult to tell this in the dark, but I'm just going to show the lume shot for you guys to see how it looks like here anyway. Right, before I move on to the crystal, just going to cover slightly a bit on the Ettore Lite here. So this is a green variation. Differences, the case is exactly the same dimensions apart from it being slightly thicker, and I assume that's to do with the movement assembly, the fact that it's got hour, minute and seconds indicators and a different 8000 series movement here is 14mm stick, so just slightly thicker than the Ettore Drift. Otherwise identical finishing, right, in terms of the finished surfaces, brushing and polish here, and the most differences are in the dial display, which I won't really go into detail. You can see the different layout here and where it, it's got that deep trench for that hour indicator, and then it's got that minutes and seconds as well. Lume wise, I'm just going to put a lume shot here for you guys to appreciate how it looks like in the dark. Right, okay, so on top of it, it's identical on both watches, right? It's I guess a cutout sapphire, what do you call that? U-shape or C-shape flat sapphire crystal. And then moving on to the strap, stitched Italian leather is what they're saying. It tapers to 20mm from 24 at the lugs, and a simple brush steel buckle, nothing more than that really here. Okay, so that's it guys, that's the full description. Let's just put it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. And there we go, the Ettore Drift on my 17cm wrist. Remember, it's 13.6mm stick, so it does ride up a bit high thanks to this leather strap, which I think needs a bit of breaking in, I suspect. And remember, that's 47mm wide here, so it's definitely got wrist presence here. Right, and that's how it looks like on the leather strap. Now, I do feel that this doesn't suit me that well. It makes it ride high a bit. So I actually changed this out to a leather strap for day-to-day wearing. I really didn't want to wear it on this leather. I should say I changed it to a NATO strap for day-to-day wearing. And I'll put a little bit of a capture here of the NATO strap that I found. This 24mm, like I tell you, it really just showed me that I need more 24mm straps, because I only had that one 24mm NATO in my entire house. So, gonna have to get more 24mm, I think. Okay, so now, finished with the description. What do I like about this? Well, look, it's cool and courageous, right? I think they really went out on the limb here. A very original case design, right? The case craft is pretty darn good. I should say that it's not just a screw down display case back. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws holding the case together. So presumably the two halves of the case together. So not just screw construction. Or screw down a case back. Really, that's a bit superfluous. It's not a waterproof watch by any means, but great case design, very original, and really a completely novel time indicator, which is, it's utterly modern and it's truly unique. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. Let me know if you think this has copied anything else. I'm not aware of anything that does anything close to this. And it's great conversation piece. People look at this and they certainly kind of say, how do you tell the time on this? What is this watch? Very interesting. The specs are only fair, I would say. You're getting sapphire, Miyota 9000, interesting lume pattern, and a very well done case is what you're getting. For the early bird price, I think you can expect that's reasonable for the engineering that has gone into the hour indicator. Full MSRP, probably not going to move, I don't think. That's just my view on this, okay? And some of you probably feel that the early bird is still a little bit steep, but let me know in the thoughts at the bottom, in the comments here. What are the weaknesses? I think the strap it does need breaking in. The way it currently is, it sits too high on the wrist. That's why I just didn't like wearing this, and I swapped it to a NATO. But with more supple wearing it, it might suit a bit better, or it might suit you better if your wrist size is slightly different. To me, it's definitely not a watch to tell the time quickly or precisely. Okay, so if you need that, this is not the watch. This is a watch to linger on and kind of just enjoy that wandering hour and take your time reading it off. This is what this is. I think the lume is compromised. I wish they had more lume, at least in the minute track here. Maybe they will change that, but they don't have it in this early release. Not really a prototype. I think it's an early release. And then, of course, the elephant in the room, the value proposition of the drift in this market, in the challenging micro brand market, is going to be pushing it. It really is going to be pushing it. I think the price calls for a Swiss movement, but I'm just a watch reviewer. Let me know your thoughts. I think the Ettore Lite might do a bit better, but it certainly doesn't have that cool hour indicator of the drift. Okay, that's enough, guys. Let's flip the camera around now for the wrap up. So there you go, guys, my review of the Atowak Ettore Drift and Lite versions. I've spoken enough on this review, so let me know your thoughts below. Look forward to the comments and discussion. Guys, if you enjoy my video, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.